And we are on. Welcome back to Empress Vibe. This is a Ways of Wealth tarot reading. This is a fairly new segment that I've introduced here on the Empress Vibe channel. So let me just go over right quick for you what it entails. We as Empresses are being called to rise because there's evil in high places. And as we ascend on our journeys, we too will end up in these high places. And once we get there, we don't need to have our eyes wide like a deer in headlights. We don't need to be stuck and don't know what moves to make. We need to kind of understand these energies before we even step off into place. So the Ways of Wealth Tarot explores the lives of our quote-unquote celebrities, of whom I think are just my peers. We explore the lives of these celebrities and the wealthy elites. And we understand the energies that are working in their lives so that when we get to these places, honey, we won't be surprised. We won't be shocked, and we won't be in such a state of paralysis that we allow any old thing to happen and go down in front of us. We need to be well prepared. So I am here, your OG Empress, to show you what's really going on in these high places so you can know that spiritual warfare when you see it, okay? And today we want to talk about Auntie Monique. Auntie, what's going on now? After all these years, we heard the stories in the dark about the attitude and about, you know, being blackballed, and the higher ups and the elites didn't want Auntie in the place. And we was like, well, maybe, you know, they're just on that secret society shit. Maybe they don't want to let her off in the place. But yeah, we heard so much about Auntie Monique, and we was like, oh man, maybe they just blackballed her because she just too raw for them, because it's divine feminine. We know, you know, the attack on divinity. But okay, now we just got 50 Cent to ride for you, and we just had T.S. Madison riding for you, and we just welcome you back into Hollywood. We accepting you in your rightful place on the big screen and trying to get you paid. And then something come up with D.L. Hughley. So now, what is it? What is it? You know, what's going on? Is it Auntie, or is she a victim, like a real victim, the real victim of them teaming up on her to dim her light? Does she have something to say that needs to be heard, and she's just being dimmed? We're gonna hop into it. We're gonna find out in today's Ways of Wealth Tarot. So I'm gonna get that goddess in the end to round it off. I'm gonna give the goddess the final say after I get finished doing my thing here. I want to throw these runes first, and then we're gonna jump into the tarot. All right. For Auntie, I have this energy of a woman who knows herself, knows her worth, knows her value, but it's been a hard and long road to climb to the top. And when a woman does not behave in the way that she's expected to behave, we all know those higher ups can box you in. They be the ones to decide who's on top. And if they don't want you to get on top, they will cap your talent. This is just the energy that I'm feeling here, y'all. I ain't taking no sides because I don't know what's going on, but this is what I'm seeing. And of course, a woman who is self-actualizing, who knows herself, she's 100% in tune with her shadow side, with her shadow self. And when a woman is comfortable with her shadow self, divine feminine, you know how that is. You know how a woman who's comfortable with her shadow self don't fit into that box. And it's a fine line to walk. You got to tread lightly. If you want to be on top, in the way that she's wanting to be on top and have the fame that she wants. If she's wanting somebody to help her up and give it to her, it's a fine line to tread. And if you can't tread that fine line, then you really have no business asking anyone to put you anywhere. Oh, I heard that we is conditional. Ooh, we is conditional. That says to me, in these higher places, when I say we and I have a little emphasis on it, I'm usually talking about people of color. When we get to these higher places, that loyalty to a person just based off their skin tone, it don't matter anymore. Now it's certain rules you have to play by. And that's for everybody to keep getting money. If we, tap black skin, want to keep getting money in the high places, it's certain rules that have to be abided by. And I don't mean that you can't still be 100% pure in your culture. What I mean is that it's certain ways you have to It's a certain code of conduct or a certain way of carrying yourself, a certain way of going about things. And Auntie ain't been going about it that way. And it don't seem like she ever does. It always kind of seems, I see that Virgo energy looking at me here. That victim mentality is bringing her down. Even though she has legit points and things that are happening to her and the way that she feels she is being put down or the way she feels she's being excluded, it's based in her true experience. But her true experience is also a result of her not walking that fine line. Yeah, when it comes to especially a dark-skinned woman, I heard, but like black women, black people, darker toned people, it's a certain way you have to move. I heard Naturi, and I think that's just giving me an example. Naturi and a flash of Angela Bassett's face just went across my mind. So I'm seeing these brown-skinned or darker-toned women, and do you see the grace with which they carry themselves? Naturi she was targeted for a long time. We all know that story. And we also see how sometimes people are disrespectful of her appearance, of her likeness, even now that she has gone on to be in the Power series and played Lil' Kim and done other things. There'll still be times when people kind of degrade her based off of her appearance. But do you see how she carries herself and how that difference is with Monique? And I'm really drawn to the Naturi reference because she's been in the game long too. She's done music as well. And Monique is going from comedy to movies and shows and television. And Naturi went from one type of entertainment to another type of entertainment. Angela Bassett always was pretty much in acting. So I'm feeling that comparison, or that, just trying to compare and contrast Naturi's grace with how Monique may carry herself, even though the treatment may be valid. Do you get what I'm saying about us, tap black skin, having to walk a fine line and having to abide by a different code of conduct to be able to move in these rooms? And I feel like the rooms gave me all of that, to point at the fact that this is Monique's own doing, because she stepped out of that code of conduct for both elite Black Hollywood and for comedians by going out front and saying what was said about D.L. Hughley. But we want to get into the tarot and see if there's anything else that needs to be said here, because I really feel like the rooms really be it. They really be telling it all. Any more need to know details or any spiritual warfare, dig deeper into that, like code of conduct and why that is that there's a problem. Okay. You see that Nine of Cups being big hopes and dreams, and then there being a conflict. And it's like, there's this naivete still present. There's a naivete still present in Monique. As experienced as you would think she is, as much as you would think she knows, as much as she's been through, there's still this naivete fighting against her. Everything she wants is on the other side of needing to mature. There's still a little girl energy, I feel, here. Like big hopes and dreams, big city, like, that Princess in Pentacles, that's a little girl, and it's upside down. So that means it's not like a good childlike behavior. It's like somebody who is refusing to grow. Somebody who is dealing with a deep-seated wound and is refusing to heal it and mature out of that. So that's that victim point of view that she comes from. Yes, there's validity to a lot of the things that Monique has said over the years about her treatment, but she is not being proactive. She is being more so reactive. A little girl is reactive, not proactive. Proactive energy here. That's what's capping her talent. Being reactive, because proactivity would look like doing something on your own. It would look like stop asking people to do stuff for you if you command that it be done this way and that way. Because if you're not the person who's moving it along, then you really can't tell nobody how to treat you. At this point, you're just an employee. And you really can't command nothing more than that if you have not put up anything out of your own money. If you're still waiting on your people to stand up for you and do for you. I feel like she's the place that she wants to be, that she feels like she should be, that high place among the Oprahs and Tyler Perrys and what his name, Lee Daniels and 50 Cents and those real big movers and shakers in Hollywood. Hell, even D.L. Hughley, you know, or Steve Harvey. She feels as if she should be in the exact same space as them, but there's distracted little girl energy here, naivete here. So there's no possible way she could have put in as much work as they did. So essentially, she's asking for them to hand her what they had to work for. Just because they have been in the industry around the same amount of time, she expects people to hand her what the others have worked for, off the strength of her being a sister. Yeah, all of that. And it's really, she legitimately believes that that is how it should be. There is a wound, like a hurt in Monique. Could be a mother issue. I just saw that image of her as Precious's mom. It could be a maternal problem here, but it's like all of that optimism that she shows for her people and like, my sister, my brother, I love you, auntie, is overcompensating for a deep-seated wound. And it's like, the more I show that I'm loving, then these people should also be loving on me and giving me opportunities, even if I have not physically done the work that would warrant me those same opportunities. But I'm loving though. But I'm talking nice to them. Why won't they give me what I want? But I also see this energy of the talking nice is more of a public thing, that behind closed doors, we may see more of that wounded person. And a wounded person is a lot more confrontational and is a lot more rude and a lot more mean and a lot more unbearing and a lot more, just hard to work with than somebody who is healed. So the more healing tone is done publicly, it's almost like it's a show. I don't think she intends for it to be like her media gimmick, but just subconsciously what she wants to be, meaning what her ego would like to think of herself. How she thinks of herself is that she's such a loving person that she deserves these opportunities. So her ego, or what she portrays herself as publicly in the limelight, is, oh, I love you, baby. I love you, sugar. I'm mama. I'm auntie. I'm every woman. I understand you. But the spirit is still hurting. The spirit is still broken. And that's where the deficit of activity came from. A lot of it has to do with distractions. It's things going on behind closed doors. Ooh, I feel like with the love life, honey, that have a lot to do with her being held up. I'm feeling Queen of Wands energy. I'm just kind of waiting on her to pop out on me. In reverse, probably. But deep-seated issues with value and worth. The Monique we see publicly is not the same one behind closed doors. And I'm not even sure if she's cognizant of it yet. Let's get some more detail. I knew it wasn't going to be for long before. It's a controlling male presence here. Like a father could be a husband, or a domineering husband, or a man that is like sexually dominant. And may use romance as a way to technically keep a woman under his thumb. I feel like her interactions with other people, Temperance and Three of Cups here, are kind of orchestrated by him in the background. A lot of negging goes on. This is a man who would make her feel like he appreciates and loves her body. She may have felt more accepted by him than she had ever felt with any other man. And that would have been the strategy that gave him the way in. That would have gotten his foot in the door to make her feel good. I know she had that fitness journey, so him being a part of it, and if she felt like her transformation, because she had a little glow up now. If she felt like he was a part of her transformation, then there's a certain loyalty that she feels inwardly to him, as if maybe he took care of her or he helped her elevate in some way. And a lot of that childish naivete that I was talking about earlier stems from that. Ooh, Empress in reverse. It ain't gonna be no, oh, Jesus. Why he telling you or telling her that, he loves her body or this and that and all of this, that he wants to make her feel like she's his queen. You see, Emperor came in upright. Empress came in, upside down. So whenever he came into her life, there was a capping of potential. since he's been there. There's been a capping of potential. That capping of potential coincides with whenever this emperor came into her life. And he only became an emperor because the empress chose him. And in the choosing him, she transferred a lot of her upward bound energy onto him. His life elevated, hers stalled. All chances of her being that Lilith woman that I was talking about in the beginning, a woman who knows herself, all chances of that showing itself and of that coming forward, all chances of her building her own avenues and income streams off of that Lilith shadow side understanding energy, that came to an end at the point she felt like she needed to be protected. At some point, she felt like she needed to be protected, and I'm not going to sit here and blame it all on her, because I know, especially back when she was coming up, it was really hard for women, and it was hard for women that was, looked damn good. I'm not saying that she looked bad, but I know for a fact that it was just much harder on an overweight woman coming up in comedy back then. Much, much harder, especially getting seen. We just now having this body positivity, plus size women appreciation movement really taking off. Like toward the end of the 2000s, the late 2000s into the 2010s, it's just now really gaining full momentum to where you'll see a plus size woman on the cover of a magazine. It started around the late 2000s. She's been in comedy since the 90s. So it's a lot of deep-seated wounds right here, that especially that have to do with her own sense of self-worth, her very value as a person. And it had a lot to do with image. So when this emperor comes in and he has this kind of lustful energy, an emperor definitely has that sexual energy to him and a sexual power. For her to feel that loved, and he may be dominating in the bedroom in a way that really turns her on, in a way that makes her feel protected in a way that she was never protected. And in exchange for that feeling of protection, she is in turn turned off that Lilith energy in herself and reverted into this childlike naivete. Not being able to see that he came up from her, but she stalled after, coming into contact with him. Not being able to see that means that she's also not able to see herself when she's dealing with other people. Y'all get where I'm going at here? There's an inability for her to really see what's going on. She's too distracted. The Emperor's won. It just, I guess, to be working a good. Oh, you know what? I'm not finna deal with that no damn Ace of Cups. All that, you're nasty. It was the first thing that Ace of Cups came out, and I heard come. So, a lot of women don't have orgasms. So if a man come along and he making you, pop, pop, pop like that, apparently it drives women crazy. Apparently it drives them crazy. So in the end, there's a side of her, I would say in her youth, we all saw that there's something about her, this what we seen as a self-assured woman. Yes, she was aware of her flaws, but still was a fighter. And still was the champion. She never really backed down from a challenge. And then all of a sudden she goes away for a little bit, comes back with this man, and now she having problems. She started losing weight, started looking better, but all of a sudden she having problems with everybody. I think maybe she thought her changing her appearance was the only thing. But she achieved her name with her appearance, so that couldn't have been the only thing. It was that warrior energy in her that she once had that took her to where she was. But as soon as that warrior energy was kind of laid down by the side, and she allowed a man to step in and began to be the one indoctrinating her and kind of coaching her on how to conduct herself, and where she allowed him to quote unquote be the man in a relationship. Listen, you either are the man or you're not. Should no woman have to allow you to be the man? If a woman has to allow you to be a man, by default, you're not the man in the relationship, because you're being allowed something. Men don't need permission to do a bitch ass thing. But back to the reading. When she allowed him to step in and quote unquote be the man in the relationship, his direction began to halt her progress. And since his direction has been slowly crippling her progress with the way that he says that she needs to be treated, or what he tells her he needs to do, instead of her listening to her Lilith spirit, that self-championing spirit, she could have been a lot more proactive now. Instead, he's more concerned with milking the connections that she already has and trying to assert his dominance via her voice. So he want to get more out of the connections that she had. So he telling her how she needs to behave and what she needs to command. Because listen, in the bedroom, he got her believing that she deserves everything, because she does deserve everything from her man. You don't deserve everything from somebody who is not fucking you. And for you to kind of go at your connections, whoo, look at that blossoming coming in upside down. Oh, listen here, listen here, listen here. It ain't gonna be no blossoming. It ain't gonna be no blossoming upside down. You open your blossom to this man. You blossomed for him. She ended up attaching her glow up and level up to this entity, this emperor energy here. And now she is not blossoming in the direction that she originally intended to blossom. She has only blossomed in a way that he can enjoy. Yes, you look great, auntie, but that's for your man. As far as your career, that's been capped because you turned all of your energy to him and put a lot of your trust in him. I really don't see a need to go any further. I've told the whole story. I guess I could ask, is there a future that we need to know about this relationship? Is there anything in the future we need to know about this relationship? Oh, okay. Starman means the magician at work. It means he's gonna keep working. He's gonna keep working. She gonna keep working because she still has the talent, but it will not be in the blossoming that she wanted to be. Yeah, 5 of Pentacles. Yep, that came out to cement what I just said. It will not be in the way that she thinks she deserves. Ooh, 3 of Swords on top of that. The heartbreak stays there. And he's successfully gotten himself into the perfect cycle. Her emperor, her man, has successfully gotten himself into exactly the place that he wanted to get a woman of power, to play the fool for him, or to just have blind faith in him. Not saying that she's gonna lose everything, but this is pretty much a plateau for Monique. The same place that she's kind of been, and we thought we were finna get some elevation, and it was snatched right back down to that same frequency. A plateau is just a stagnant frequency. When you have something in your life that is capping your growth, you will stay in the same place over and over and over and over and over and over again. So just like this little flower here in the fool's hand looks like a buffer, a never-ending buffer, she'll go over and over and over again because she is in the palm of his hand. And they may continue to live a life with wealth and, a certain level of abundance, because she still does have her talent. Monique is still her name. But the giant leaps that she wants to take that mirror her peers, Tracy Morgan, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, people that were around back then, Tyler Perry, 50 Cent, her peers in entertainment, the large and long strides that they have made based off of their own fighting energy for themselves and walking that fine line and, realizing that sometimes you have to conduct yourself in a certain way behind closed doors and then show something else in person in these wealthy circles. She just will not be able to meet that. Not when this relationship is in the picture. And like I said, he's successfully gotten himself into a position where he's good. He ain't going nowhere. I don't see nowhere in the future her letting him go. Hangman comes to go. Oh, and the magician, double confirmation. He ain't going nowhere. He gonna be hanging around and she gonna be in the palm of his hand pretty much. And they will continue to make money. And maybe she'll get the idea to go ahead and do things for herself. Let's see, God, what say you on that? I don't see that energy of going on to do things more so for herself. I see the energy of we hear from her a little bit more and we see her every now and then, but it's a lot more quietness, it's a lot more stillness. Basically how she has kind of gone into the shadows and every now and then she'll resurface with a little splash. It'll be the same thing. It's the perfect cycle, just like I just said. This emperor has built the perfect cycle. She is powering his machine. He gets to live how he wants to live. He has secured his legacy. And she's pretty much capped. She may continue to blossom in his way. They may have a beautiful love, beautiful relationship, amazing sex, lots of orgasms. But as far as Hollywood is concerned, this is pretty much the everlasting cycle here for Monique. You know, things will quiet down, calm down for a little bit, then there's another big splash. Then things will quiet down, we don't hear from her for a year or two, then another splash. And then, you know, she'll pop up on Breakfast Club, then go away, and then another splash here and there. May even start a show. It'll be on the air for 1 or 2 seasons, then she'll go away for a while, and that's just the never-ending cycle this magician has perfectly set up for himself. If she's happy in her relationship, then it is what it is. That's the sacrifice. We need to know these things before you get to a position of wealth. Will you allow an emperor to come in with magician energy and make you the source of his prosperity, of his come up? Will you allow him to secure his legacy off of you while that puts an end or a cap to your own blossoming? These are the things, these are the understandings that you need to have before you even enter that room and this suave brother come your way talking that shit that you've never heard a man talk to you. Now you in love with him. And he gonna love you right. He sure gonna sex you down. But that's gonna be the end of your climb. And when your peers are in places that you feel like you should be, you ain't gonna be able to play victim. Because you made your decision. You chose what you wanted to direct your energy toward. And it was allowing someone else to build you up instead of building yourself. That has been the Ways of the Wealth Tarot reading. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.